Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Writing Community Chat Show. It is back, and I love being here. It's fantastic. Chat is already really engaging, which is really cool to see. And I'll say hello to you in a minute. We do have a guest on tonight that has been on before, and I'm sure you will see who that is just from clicking on the link. Amazingly, that guest was on the show almost a year ago to the day. In fact, in 2 days, that will be exactly a year. And I think that's just a bit crazy. I hope you're all doing really well. You are watching the Writing Community Chat Show. My name is Chris, for those that don't know. Welcome. Oh my goodness. So it's been a couple of weeks now, and the show is doing kind of well on the new Spreaker Prime show, which is fantastic. They're really supportive of this show, and they're putting me into a lot of new avenues of podcast directories, which is really helping the show. And YouTube's doing really well as well for you guys that are supporting that way. But with Spreaker, they distribute all my shows everywhere. And you may have seen that on YouTube now, it'll just have the podcast title, and it'll play the podcast on the YouTube as well as this video separately. So if you want to just check that out as an audio, you can do through YouTube, or you can listen to it on the podcast as usual. All of those things are fantastic. And I'm not going to ramble on much about anything else right now. I just want to get on the guest because, as you know from if you watched the last show, it was an absolute blast. And I'm sure it's going to be exactly the same again. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the amazing Tina Baker.
Yay! I came washed up. I came straight from the gym, put more makeup on, and I've had a wet whitewash. So you're quite lucky, whatever format you're listening or watching, that it's not smelly vision. Sorry.
It's brilliant to have you back on the show. It really is. And it's kind of just, yeah, it's kind of blown my mind that it's just so close to it exactly a year later.
Meant to be. Let's be honest, something cancelled at the last minute. We weren't supposed to be doing this, but I appeared. We've got the magician on Monday, and I just appeared in a puff of smoke.
And just like an appearance behind you is your cat in the corner next to your Call Me Mummy book that's just poked his head around the corner. Her head.
That's still her. And that's Pinky, who's on the official Plump watch list. And they sit there by my shrine, and that's the most disputed territory. So at some point there'll be a fight when either Tiger tries to get her off or Bertie jumps on a try, and then you can just hear this behind me, and then there'll be, a bit of a kerfuffle.
Well, as I mentioned, that I've got two little cats that appeared on the show last week. With Sarah Alderson on the show, they just kind of invaded. They actually climbed out of my cupboard, which was weird. And then I showed them on the show. So it's the first time that they've been shown, but they haven't got to that kind of screamy stage yet. So,
give it time. She says, as a veteran mother of animals. Yes, give it time. So she's literally having a bath now. So at some point, I might have to move the camera just to keep her privacy at those.
Just have a look in the chat then. Linda's hello to you. She says, I have a cat and my coffee ready, which is always a good combination.
Yes, I've got my merch. It's water. Jeff bought this for Christmas.
I've got my merch.
Your merch.
But this is not water. It's
no,
Guinness.
I can tell. Yours has got a good old head on it.
It does indeed. Who else? Angel, hello to you. I don't think I've seen you.
Angel.
One of you. Brandon, hello as well. Great to see you coming back to the show. Linda, hello. Oh, we've spoken to you already, Linda. Come on. And Kevin, hello to you. Kevin, good to see you. And Leah as well. And I've appeared too. Hi, everyone. What Tina meant that she had appeared, I actually had another guest booked in this week. And they're just too hot on the press. There's too many opportunities coming around for them. And they are currently on a flight right now to London. So I reached out to Tina, knowing her little Nasty Little Cuts is a new book that she has out. And Tina has always been awesome. So she's just jumped on the show. And what a replacement, guys. Should have been first booking Tina. Come on, shouldn't it?
It should, because you were my first.
I was.
So like when Call Me Mummy came out, this was the first show I ever did. And I love you. So it's like the weird thing is I feel like we've never met in person because I was too scared to go to Harrogate. old. So even though, you know, I've got 10 tons of makeup on, I'm very old. And also my lungs are, you know, the lungs of a 90-year-old woman, even though I teach keep fit. So it's really weird. And I was just too scared, you know, so I did go up to like the bloody Scotland Festival months after Harrogate. And this was my journey on the train. It's like, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Oh, cow, I'm going to die.
How was bloody Scotland? Because that when I was at Harrogate, in fact, a lot of people said, "Oh, are you going to bloody Scotland next?" I obviously didn't do that, but how was that? Because it must be quite an attraction for people to be talking about it whilst at another festival.
It was, well, so I know it was my very first festival. So it's been a year of firsts, and I've had quite a few failures along the way. So bloody Scotland, I thought I did well. So my spot was 2 minutes, a reading of 2 minutes. And I was on with Chris Brookmeyer and Marc Billingham, who are, you know, the gods of crime and millions of followers, etc. And I thought, well, how am I going to do this? And my session was called Killer Bees. And being nothing if not literal, I bought a sort of giant inflatable bee costume.
Oh,
I thought, at least they'll remember me. Tip 1, always check your equipment. So I got stuck in the giant inflatable bee costume. I went on stage, I did my reading, that went all right. I ran around a bit, I explained, killer bees, I'm dressed as a bee. Couldn't get out of it. So I might have still to this day, I would have deflated by now, but just be trailing it round with the world's saddest, you know, pollinator. So there was that. The other tip is
hang on, you can't stop there. What was the reaction?
It was good. It was good.
Okay.
They did look at me a little bit like,
yeah, what is happening?
You know, I explained it's killer bees. I'm having a laugh. And then on the way out, I met up randomly with the Extinction Rebellion people. So tip 2, when you randomly join an Extinction Rebellion protest dressed as a giant bee, just check that there aren't police in the area. Because at the point in a Stirling precinct, when I was upside down, you know, we'd rehearsed this. I was upside down dying as a bee. It was Save the Bees. And I was on my back in the precinct with all 4 paws in the air. And I just saw 2 policemen heading towards me. And I thought, well, this is my very first festival and I've disgraced myself already, rolling around on the floor. But they were really nice policemen, so I got away with that. So
amazing.
That was quite nice.
I love that story. And what really jumps out at me, do bees have paws?
Probably not. And I only had 4. So obviously, I think I love biology. I think they have 6 appendages.
Okay.
And a stinger, but not paws, probably.
So that is absolutely fantastic. So the big question is this year, are you going to Harrogate Crime Festival this year?
I don't know. I have got a festival that I'm going to pop in at in May, and I'm already planning costumes. But I don't know about Harrogate. I've not booked or anything. It's still all really new to me. So I've got my first library event next week. Okay. I'm going to try and go normal. And then I've got a school assembly a couple of weeks' time. But I'm not going to be reading my book then. But I just might get the inflatable elephant costume out for that. That's a random different story. I've got quite a few things. I don't know. You know, I think you know me enough that I write very dark, but to cheer myself up, you know, I do get anxiety, I do get depression, and to cheer myself up, I act like a child. And
it's the best. I've missed this.
I love the squeaky chair. You know, so anything that has got, so on the Viper Christmas party, we did a sort of bingo game. And not only did my chicken take part, Nicola White, a steam novelist, had made a cardboard squeaky chicken. So it didn't actually squeak, but we were just waving to each other. I did better at the bingo than I did my first year where they did a quiz and I didn't get 1 question right. I'm a disgrace as a crime writer.
Amazing. So let me talk about your books then before we go completely off on some, well, get some amazing tips in. Yes, so we started off last year with Call Me Mummy. In February last year, in February this year, you released Nasty Little Cuts. They were both in the realms of lockdown, kind of COVID life. How much has your releases differed, or have they differed?
So Call Me Mummy came out 60 odd years waiting for this, and no shops were open at all.
Amazing.
And so I filmed a video where I literally banged on the windows of Waterstones,
I remember it well.
Screaming "Why!" at the top of my voice. Anybody who watches RuPaul Drag Race, I then fell to my knees like Jimbo and fell on the pavement. And that was just from the heart. You know, I'd waited so long. The day Nasty Little Cuts came out, a nasty little dictator invaded the Ukraine. And I was tweeting, getting my books out, and somebody on Twitter just said, well, that's in really bad taste because, because of the world. And it was like, it's not my fault. The world's a mess, but the last time I looked, I've not invaded anybody. I'm sorry.
Well, it is unfortunate timing.
I know. So it's that trying not to feel, and there's a small part of myself, I'll be really honest and serious for a minute, that just think none of this matters. It's pointless. Why are we doing it? But then what kept me alive, and I'm not exaggerating, I went right downhill, not immediately after your show, but you know what I mean? I went right downhill because I had to shield. All my work went. I was teaching on Zoom, but I never saw anybody. And my depression was like probably the worst it's been for decades. Reading was my lifeline. Writing was my lifeline. Even though my books are quite dark, there's some real gallows humor in it. And that keeps me sane-ish. I think you have to, and like playfulness. So my husband, God bless him, you've met him very briefly, but he's got the same sense of humor. So he's the only man I know whose bottom has been banned on TikTok. So one of the pictures, I got him to hold Nasty Little Cuts. You know, like those pictures of little kids, innocent on a fake rug, sort of leopard print rug, holding the picture with his little bum out, and that was censored. And I've seen far worse things on TikTok.
I can imagine.
And in the end, I just thought, well, we might as well get an OnlyFans account, and I didn't. I thought of manipulating that and using it to my own advantage, Chris. But, luckily, he's the one who pushes me about in shopping trolleys. He's the one who hoists me up onto the top of my car for my first unboxing. He's the one who holds the camera when I got all of my kit off for Nasty Little Cuts. And like Calendar Girls, I held the books over my bits. My bits aren't that big, so the book well covered it. I didn't need bigger books.
Let's talk about a little bit then about the depression and how in life generally during, say, pandemic times lately, people have really stepped into that world without never being there before. But there's also in the world of being a creative, I think that is almost an attachment to people who really are creative, that they feel that kind of lowness now and then. How do you kind of feel that is your way out? I know you mentioned your comedy, but say it must be very hard to have all that effort and that built up pressure to go, this book is released and then something distract it completely. How did you kind of think, okay, let's still push this on? And how did you adjust for that kind of marketing style? Although I know you have the best marketing style in the world.
Going insane, really.
Yeah.
It's like a pressure cooker, and I need that sort of valve, really. There is that thing that even when you say creative, my working class background is it still feels uncomfortable for me to say I'm an author, I'm a writer, and I'm creative, because none of those things were encouraged. In fact, they were dangerous. And I know that you think, why? Because once when I entered a Cadbury's chocolate writing competition, my classmates found out and I was hit on the head with a chair, which everyone's a critic. So it was just that sort of background. Like, I can remember being bullied because one of my names is Ghanaian. My godfather was from Ghana, and one of my middle names is Eresi. And I got into fights over that. So, there's a certain type of working class school where if you're a SWAT, if you like learning, if you like reading and writing, you'll be in a fight quite a lot. And then also we lived in a caravan, so there was that as well. So when you say those things, it's like, I don't know as if I am. I get The Author, which is a magazine for writers. I I signed up to the Society of Authors, feeling like a big fat fake, because that's your imposter syndrome. And they said what you've just said, that actually a lot of writers, and I imagine painters and dancers and everything, had a real wobble about that. And yeah, the more people I've talked to, it's only recently as well that people have started talking about mental health. My mum had everything going, but she never had the language to talk about it. She was abused by nuns, Welsh nuns, as it turned out. So there's a little twist on the tale. But she and her generation didn't have that ability to talk about stuff. And I only now, in my dotage, I'm talking about it, I'm writing about it. And I felt I needed to honour it, because if you're writing about abuse, it's, you know, I think you need to say, I've got some experience of that. I've also interviewed men and women in domestic violence situations. And then, of course, this was written, actually, it was edited in lockdown, but it was written before the pandemic. That's made it a million times worse, because that pressure cooker, I mean, there was me, my brother, a dog, my mum and dad in a tiny caravan. If you were in that situation, or a flat during lockdown, you've got nowhere to go, if you hadn't got a little garden or something, that was just like erupting into horror, really.
Yeah.
So that was my starting point, was before a pandemic that made all of those things worse. And it certainly, you know, wobbled me big time. I'm still having hypnotherapy to help me get outside the house, because I became almost agoraphobic, to be honest. And this way of like chatting to you, you can remember how giddy I was. It was like, hiya, human face in my computer, you know, Zoom calls, anything where people chat to me. That's my social life. This is my night out. I can make myself do work events now. I can make myself go to the gym and work, but you know, and I can go to a festival, but I didn't do any of the social things. I did my panel thing, did my reading, and then scuttled back to my room. It's hard for me to just like, I've not been to the pictures. My husband runs a pub, not been to his pub. So I'm taking the steps. Yeah. And when I went into my publishers yesterday and I had this wave of nausea, thinking, oh my God, I'm the only one in the bus with a mask on. And I felt really ill with it. You know, it was like a real wave of it. So, hey, you know, thank God for books to read, to escape. Even if it's a horrible book, at least somebody's having a worse time than you. That's why the soaps were always so popular. You know, that there's always somebody in Albert Square and in Coronation Street who's having a far worse time than you are.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're quite right. Like the distraction, having this a platform, which obviously started, is the 2-year birthday next week, at the very start of lockdown. I think if that wasn't there for me and for a lot of the people that tune into this, it would have been a whole different 2 years, completely different experience. And I definitely think this has kept my head above water, if that makes sense as well.
It's that sense of community. And I get really mushy about this. But like when I sort of send you a little message, or I get like a little heart like from people who are here, you know, I love it. And it is that I've become a bit addicted to Twitter and Instagram. I am now officially almost the oldest person on TikTok. You know, it's the same stuff. It's daft little videos of book signings or whatever. But it's feeling part of something when I've been a bit starved for that. And also it's made me think of the people who've got chronic illnesses who have still got to shield. So I'm triple jabbed and flu jabbed and pneumonia jabbed and like a pincushion, etc. Some people have to really shield most of their lives, and it's made me think about that. So it's become, you know, I've got friends on Facebook who I've never met in real life who I love, and that's not exaggerating. I love you, Chris, you know that, and I'll say that. It's just like, it's a joy. It makes me smile, and those moments mean even more now, because I never did it before. I never really did TikTok, or, you know, it wasn't a thing, was it? But I wasn't even on Twitter before I wrote. And the publishers said, yeah, you know, you'll chat to other authors. And I thought, is it a thing? I go to my life going, is that a thing? Like unboxings, is that a thing? Why would somebody want you to open a box? You know, I don't know. It's all new to me.
Well, you're doing an absolutely fabulous job at it, Tina.
God bless.
I honestly, in scrolling around there somewhere, I literally call the queen of book promotion. And guys that are watching this show, or if you're listening back or watching it back, if you haven't gone to Tina's account on Twitter or TikTok, of course, and seen these promotional videos that Tina has put the effort into, and of course your husband, you must do so, because I remember what you talked about, that very first video of you going down the street in your trolley and shouting at the windows all these great things. It was so funny. And there's so many book promotions out there, and this is the whole reason this show came around. On Twitter, you can send a tweet out about your book. It might get seen, it might get 20 likes, it might just get it might disappear into the world of Twitter. That video was so funny, regardless of if I even engaged with that book at the time I shared it. That will tenfold get the views, and some more people will see that and see the book there as well. I think it's so powerful.
It's more than promotion. I mean, it's one, to amuse me, two, to amuse my husband, but also it's like just to make somebody smile, whether or not they ever read the book. You know, I say to people, get the book from a library. I didn't buy a book for the first 20 years of my life until I went to university. It's not about, it is obviously about sales in one way, but it's also like something from the heart. So the last one, I got to see my book in Waterstones, and I was dressed in a wedding dress, as you do, because the book's about, you know, that idealized wedding marriage thing. Now, I've been married 3 times, engaged 7 times. I have failed a lot at relationships. The scary side of relationships, I've done a bit. I've been, you know, with an alcoholic, a drug addict. I've been in physical fights with boyfriends. You know, I've gone through variations of abuse and grooming and all of that. But also I've interviewed people. And I say people because I've interviewed men who've been abused as well as women. Now that's in some ways a hard sell. So what I did, I dressed as a bride for quite a few months this year. It's been my Miss Havisham year. And I stood outside the windows and sang my Kate Bush song, you know, Heathcliff, let me in at the window. And we've done silly little videos of me just wandering down the street in my wedding dress. And then in Waterstones, it's that feeling of like all you're doing is desperate for somebody to buy your book. So I lay on the floor and grabbed hold of Jeff's leg as he was walking away, dragging me along the floor, screaming, please buy my book, please buy my book, please buy my book. 10,000 people have seen that idiocy. And it's just, it still tickles me when I see it, because it's like, you know, Virginia Woolf never had to do this to sell a book. You know, the great unboxing videos of Doris Lessing. It's like, that's not a thing. It's nobody's told me to do it, but I really like doing it because it tickles me. It's just funny. So when I went into my publishers, I just got on the table and sang, everything's coming up, vipers, for me and for you, you know, badly and loud. Because it's like a library in the publishers. And there's still that very small part of me that just thinks, I've got a publisher, I've got an agent. It's like walking into this hallowed space. And part of me just like breaks out and does the daftest thing I can think of just to get rid of my nerves. I did ask them if it was all right to climb on the desk.
Can I do it, please?
Just do it. You know, I did ask the lady at Waterstones, will it be all right if I turn up in a wedding dress and be dragged along your floor? I didn't ask Tesco's if I could do, I did a little video in Tesco's, because getting my book in Tesco's was like the Booker Prize for me, because I'd grown up mopping floors. Yeah. So the paperback of Call Me Mummy got in Tesco's, and I said, I've got to film in Tesco's. Sadly, they'd stopped selling books several weeks before of my local Tesco's. So I turned up and I said, can I mop your floor? And they just looked at me like I was insane. And then I'd done this rags to riches. You know, you do the Wonder Woman twirl. And then I turned into, you know, I had my evening dress on. It's like I'm now a published author. Anyway, the man who I asked obviously didn't relay this to the manager, and I was thrown out.
No way.
So here's another tip. Just get permission for filming your promo videos. Actually, she apologized later, and I just pretended to mop outside because she was, I said, but Tesco's head office have said, well done, thumbs up, likes. Anyway, you do need to check.
Yeah, Tina, let us know then, because there's a lot of authors out here that definitely use a similar style of promotion. They might even have a book trailer video, which I think they're cool. I'm not entirely sure how effective at selling a book they are, but if they want to go down into Tina's world of being really entertaining in these style videos, and again, guys, go and check it out. You'll know what I mean. What tips can you give them to kind of jump into that without? We just had one, I guess. Ask permission. But what else can you tell them?
Well, this is more than just a promo tip. Practice your signature. Because for my very first book signing, as I was signing the Tina, somebody says, oh, don't sign it the same way you sign a check. And my local bookshop had only got 3 books in to sign. So I thought, I've already cocked this one up. So I just wrote Tina B rather than my name, because I was writing. I've got quite childlike writing. If you ever do see a signed copy of my book, it looks like a hyperactive toddler has just got mad. Also, obviously take a pen. Because I didn't take a pen either. And I signed it Tina B. So now it looks like some superannuated rapper has signed a literary book, but there is that. So I genuinely think you've got to do something that pushes you a little bit, because if I thought for 1 minute that let the shame in. So shame's been a big thing in my life, lapsed Catholic, all of that. But, it doesn't have to be big shame. It just means, oh, I feel daft. Yeah, I feel daft every day of my life. My day job is standing in front of a group of 20-year-olds, and I am universally the worst person in the class I teach. I'm 64 in a month's time. I can't lift the weights they lift. I'm fit for my age. I can dance. But when I twerk, I am the whitest woman you've ever seen. I do lie, in fact. So I think sometimes you just get over yourself. Just think, if you've got an idea, I always go with the very first idea. So if something pops into my mind, even though it seems a bit insane, I'll try it, because you don't have to post it. And it does help to just something that tickles your sense of humor. But also, I've seen really heartfelt, sweet videos. You don't have to be daft. I'm a daft person. So I've seen really sweet videos where if you've got cats or dogs or kids, you can have them in on, reading, all that. And it's the thing I've had to do the biggest, because for many years I worked on telly, where you'd have a producer and you'd have a director, and you'd have somebody asking you to do take after take. Don't worry about that. Put that. Everybody's doing it a bit messy now. My hair is fresh from the gym. Normally, I'd really worry about that, but I knew you wouldn't mind. It's also Silver Fox vibes, because I've not been to the hairdressers for 2 years. It's like, so what? We're human. So it's like embracing your flaws a bit. It doesn't matter if a video's a bit, like a couple of videos, like the lady from Waterstones was laughing. So there's a bit of camera shake. It doesn't matter. And you don't even have to do videos. So I put my makeup on for the radio I did today. I put my makeup on for podcasts, because that makes me feel a bit like putting on a work uniform. So that's a tip for men and women everywhere. A bit of makeup, a bit of concealer, a bit of moisturizer. Vocal zone, they're not paying me to say this, but because I talk a lot, have you noticed? And because I shout for my day job, my voice often goes. So, throat pastels and vocal zone has kept me absolutely going. And just do something that makes you feel that you want to do that, so if you want to do a reading, have a little practice of a reading. But if you stumble over a word, it doesn't matter. It just is more natural.
I think that one of the things that I've definitely done in this show, and I love that that's happened and people have enjoyed that, is just, if you mess up, you can even take the piss out of yourself.
Yeah.
And people embrace that. I think the worst thing you can do is try to think, oh, let's pretend that didn't happen, because it gets awkward.
Yeah. And actually, if you do like the bloopers, they get more. So, I mean, I'm nearly always photobombed by cats. She's now showing you her furry bum. So often they, so I've been asked sometimes by the publisher to do like quite straight videos for, say, an international conference, the book fairs, which weren't in real life anymore. So they'd asked me to do quite straight videos rather than camping it up videos. So I'd be doing it really seriously, and then the cat would just start meowing, and I'd say, "Shut up, you've ruined it," or it'd just be something, and then there'd be just that, and a tail would walk by. I love that, and there's certain places where if you're reading a very heartfelt bit, you perhaps don't want that, but I try and pick bits that are a bit of a mixture. If you are reading something, short is better. So that was a good litmus test for me. 2 minutes, you can time yourself. A good guide is 3 words a second. If you're given a time slot to do that. But most of us, it's like us in our living rooms thinking up ideas for, Twitter. And, there's some beautiful stuff out there. The Instagrammers just do beautiful pictures. You don't have to be in it if you're shy. I know people never believe I'm shy, but I've sort of got over it. I was born shy, and I've sort of had to push through it, really. But you can just take pictures of the book. And one of the booksellers, Dan, does these gorgeous arrangements, and he's had like a feature about him in The Guardian, because he just gets bits and arranges it as a sort of like almost like an art thing. So you don't have to be in your videos. You can definitely put your kids and your animals to work and take pictures of them. You're paying for them, get them involved. And I think that's lovely. And some of the tender ones where people of my age, who've waited a long time for it, just literally open a box or hold their book, and you can just see the genuine joy of it. For a lot of us, it's been a long time coming. So it doesn't have to be, my way's a bit out there. I'm also aware that quite a few people will probably mute me for that, because they just think, oh God, that screechy Harridan, what's she doing? And, I actually do know I can't sing, and it's not about that. It's about having a laugh. So that's me, but your one's going to be different. And if you could give anybody the magic wand, it's give yourself permission, just in your writing, in your promotion. Your voice is different to my voice, is different from Chris's voice, and just lean into it a bit and push it a little bit, just outside that envelope of feeling comfortable.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I instantly thought, when you talked about your classes with your twerking and all that stuff, there's definitely a vlog video promotion possibility there. I need to come and join in one of your classes at some point.
Don't say that, though, because I did do classes through lockdown. So one of the most benign things I did, I thought, was I was going to break the world record Zoom Agadoo to publicise my book, because in Nasty Little Cuts, one of the joyful scenes is on their wedding day. She is a fitness instructor. I don't know where I get my inspiration. And she does Agadoo, and Agadoo is like one of my old Zumba tracks that I used to do. And I'm now teaching a generation of young people who don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, we'll do Agadoo. And it's like, what? And I have to explain, because there's people all over in London who've never heard of Black Lace. It's a song from the 80s, and it's got hand movements, push pineapple, shake the tree. In the middle of this little Zoom thing, which was just really to say thank you to the bloggers and the people on Twitter and Instagram who's followed me. And one of the bloggers had his 2 little girls, and it was just lovely. They got glow sticks. They got one of those like little disco balls, and they were dancing. And the next minute, I just thought somebody had accidentally unmuted. I am dancing in a wedding dress that I've ripped the bottom off like Bucks Fizz. Bucks Fizz, again, are an ancient pop group who won Eurovision, if you didn't know. So they couldn't have been anything. I got maracas. There's nothing more innocent than that. And we were hacked by, I think they're called incels, these guys in masks who were screaming abuse at me, C words, F words, bitch words, all of it. They had pornographic pictures. One of them almost got out, I'm assuming a micro penis, because luckily we pulled the plug before we saw that. And they had balaclavas on, so it's really scary, skull masks on. It was really scary.
Wow.
Now, thank God, I was a lot further away from my machine than I am now, because I was dancing, so you needed to see my whole body, and I'm half blind and half deaf. But it felt like being assaulted in my own living room.
Yeah.
And the first thought I had was, oh my God, these two little girls. Now, I've spoken to them and their dad, and it's all right, because they were too young. It went over their heads. But Jesus, I didn't know that was a thing. And just that moment, I got angry for a start. The next day, out of nowhere, I just started crying, and I didn't know what it was. And I think it was shock.
Yeah.
I think it was like any woman, any outwardly camp person, anyone who dresses differently in the outside world will get comments like that. The older you get, that dies off a bit. But because I keep fit kit, you know, so leggings and stuff, I still get it a bit until I turn around and then they realize, you know, I'm a little bit older. But we shouldn't have to have it. And I felt enraged that these little girls, it's still happening. So I have been, you know, jokingly assaulted, like pinch of the bums. And I've been assaulted quite badly in the street. We shouldn't have to put up with it, really.
Not at all. No.
And that was horrible. Really, really horrible. So we reported it to Zoom and that. There's going to be things like that. You know, there's no tip for that, apart from I did talk about it. And that made me feel better. So if anything bad happens, like you think it's your fault, which I did think that was my fault, I thought it's my responsibility. Share it with people. Even if you've had like a reading where it's gone horribly wrong, or you know, nobody comes to your launch, or whatever it is, or you don't get an agent and you're dealing with rejection, share that. Because I had that wash of shame. And then when I said it on Twitter, people got hold of me and said, oh yeah, they hacked the Crime Writers Association. They've hacked the Romance Writers Society. They've hacked Noir at the Bar. And, you know, it's like, why? Who knows? And then I sort of thought it's like those kids at school who'd ring the fire engines. Yeah. You just, what do you get out of that? You know, they're sad, inadequate people who want a bit of attention. How that works with wearing a mask, don't ask me. But also, it's always the same thing. The other thing in the chat box, it was N-word this, N-word that. And it's like, it's always sexism, it's always racism, it's always the lowest common denominator of abuse. And, you know, but people say about, you know, you'll always get good reviews and bad reviews. The worst review I had with 1 star on Amazon because the packet was damaged. It's like, go figure, really. It's like, you know, if I had a tip is don't take all the reviews to heart, because a lot of people don't like my swearing, both in real life and the writing. A lot of people who've reviewed so far, because I did a read along with Pigeon HQ, which is like, it's like a book club that you read along with the people who are reading. And like, people are very nervous if you're going to hurt an animal. Disclosure and spoiler, I never would, but you know, animals in peril. And it's like, you can dismember a woman in some crime. That's not my crime, but you can dismember people, but you can't swear and you can't hurt an animal. So it's a weird sort of like what people will take and not take. And people's opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one and everyone's slightly different. So that's a tip. Don't listen to the people who hack your agadoo. And don't listen to some of the reviews if that's not from your heart. You know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely, yeah.
I'm thinking swearing, you know, you're allowed to swear.
I do too. I really do.
Novels, if you are, you know, Irving Welsh. I don't know if it's different for women, but I've had a lot of comments about my swearing. But some of the swearing's affectionate. because it's how I was brought up. My dad.
Swearing is an art. It really is.
Yeah, if it's funny swearing as well. So
if you need any lessons in funny swearing, Billy Connolly, the comedian, he'll teach you the way. He is wonderful.
I've been lucky enough to see him live twice, and he is like the master. I adore him.
I think he's fantastic. So Tina, what we want to do is we want to hear about your brand new book, and then I have organized a little quiz for you.
Oh, a quiz! I thought we were just giving things away.
We can still give a book away.
I'll give Jeff away if you like. First prize.
Don't give Jeff away. Who's going to make your videos for you?
Yeah, he's done all my tech. I love him dearly, but
he did. He fixed you to get on the show.
He knows I'm taking the piss. He's got a very similar sense of humor. If you could hear our language with each other, but it's affectionate. It's not, you know how things are said, what you mean. I love him.
So what I'll do is I'll share this screen and it will show you what you need to put into the chat, guys. And then Tina can talk about the book. And if you're interested and want to win that, you just put this in the chat and you'll be in the draw and we'll give you the draw. There you go. Hashtag Tina, capital TINA, to get in that draw. Do that now if you want to. And well,
to get in the draw, not my drawers.
Not in Tina's drawers. So Tina, let us know what that book is about.
So Nasty Little Cuts was written just before the pandemic. It's about all those tiny little things that build up until it's a pressure cooker. And of course, domestic violence soared, violence against kids and animals did actually soar when people were crushed together, you know, I mean, I was like mum, dad, brother, me, dog in a caravan. So, you know, if I'd have been in the pandemic, like when I grew up, I mean, my dad even then ripped the door off a caravan with one row. So epic rows. So some of that has stuck with me. So it's the night before Christmas, because I do believe Christmas is one of those times that everything amplifies. And I've had some horrific Christmases myself where 2 husbands have left me at that time. My mother tried to stab me once. She had mental health issues, and I was in a horror car crash. So little things like that reverberate through, and it's normal pressures of family life with 2 young kids, with 2 very flawed people, and sometimes pressures just crack you open, and they both crack at the same time, and it's basically a fight to the death just before Christmas. It's a bit like Die Hard in a kitchen. And also I didn't want her to be a victim, so I made her strong and a fitness instructor and a kickboxer, and I gave him a bad back. So that's it's all over the one night, but it's all what brings you to that point. So it's all backstory really, because I've never written so far a whodunit. It's a why done it. And it's, as I say, it's quite vicious and quite dark. And I have been in physical fights with both men and women. Actually, not women. I've been in physical fights with kids, female kids, because that stopped in teenagers. So I don't know if you young women. But I've been in fights where I've felt like I've been fighting for my life, and it's terrifying. So I'm sorry, we've now got another interloper. At a serious bit, she's now showing you her face. This is Pinky. There is an animal in it. It's Get Down Lulu, because I've always felt very sad for animals involved in toxic relationships and fights. And we had dogs when I was growing up. My mum and dad would be knocking 7 bells out of each other, and the dog and me would be cowering under the table. And Get Down Lulu's based on, we used to have a Great Dane who would try and sit on your lap, even when she was the size of a small pony. And her name was like Get Down Harriet. So Get Down Lulu, you do get some of the perspective from her point of view as well. But of course, kids are in danger and the animal's in danger, because when adults snap, there's fallout. So the first book, Call Me Mummy, was like a roar of grief, because I wanted a kid, didn't get one, went through IVF, didn't happen. And that was what would happen if I'd stolen one. This one's a roar of fury. And there's a scene of one of my many road rage incidents, which was taken when I was in Italy, and somebody grabbed me quite viciously around my nether regions, and I turned around and I kicked the car, and they got out. The guys got out of the car and they were screaming at me, and me and my friend was suddenly really scared. And it's like, well, I lashed out because you grabbed me.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can turn like that. There is a road rage incident inspired by that. It also involves my actual car, which has got eyelashes and is a beetle.
I'm not entirely surprised to hear that.
I knew you wouldn't be, because I think I said the very first time we met on the show, people see me and I'm all like My Little Pony, and then they read my books and it's like they're traumatized, because it's like I write like a 6-foot goth, but there are these moments of madness in it which hopefully will make you laugh.
Fantastic. Well, there you go, guys. If you would like to win that book, and I will send that out to you. Hashtag Tina in the chat. There's been a couple in there, but let's try and get a few more before the show is up, and we'll do that draw at the end of the show. Tina, do you want to do a quiz, or do you want to chat about something else?
Yeah, how hard's a quiz? Because
it's not hard.
Just so you know, like the Viper first quiz. So before my first book came out, we did this quiz, which was all about Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, not like this.
Literally, I was mortified. Absolutely, I didn't get one right.
I think you'll get one or two of these right.
And then this lovely gentleman who won the name in my book got everything right. And his name is Ali. And I work with about 5 owls in my gym. And there's a scene where the protagonist sleeps with Al in the gym. And I had to do a disclaimer in the acknowledgement saying it's not any of those owls. This is Ali, who won his name check in a competition.
Brilliant.
Yes. I'll do the quiz. Let's go for it.
You want to do it? Let's see how it goes. There's 8 questions. Okay, let's go for it.
With my friend.
Yes, he must help. Question 1, and guys in the chat, feel free to send the answers in if you like. In which TV show can you hear the famous quote, "I'm not insane, my mother had tested me"?
Ooh. Is it Alma's Not Normal?
I have no idea what that is. So
you don't? No. I love Alma's Not Normal. Is an award-winning comedy, and it was very funny. No, I don't know. What about Frank Spencer?
Kevin said Frank Spencer. Big Bang. Big Bang. That is correct.
No, confession, I've never watched a single episode. My brother's obsessed, so I don't know that.
That's fair enough.
Off to a sterling start. I apologize.
The chicken didn't know?
Chicken doesn't know anything. It's just plucked. No idea. Okay,
let's try this one. You might get this one. Which UK city was named after breast-shaped hills?
Breast-shaped hills. Well, mine are more hillocks these days. So I've no idea. What's got so not Sheffield, that's 7 hills, and that would be sort of alien breast, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sheffield's got 7 hills.
I don't think it's far from there.
Is it not? Is it not? Oh, now it's trying to think of where's. Is it Southborough? Is it Doncaster? Is it Northborough?
Linda says Boobingham. It's not Boobingham. There is someone in the chat with the correct answer. Just give a city. Have a guess.
Leeds.
Not Leeds. It is Manchester. Well done, Brandon, to you.
Oh, Brandon.
Well done. Brandon, you should clip that. That's brilliant. Yeah, Manchester. Okay, what is the national animal of Scotland?
Thistle. A haggis.
An animal.
What? No, a stag.
It's not a stag.
Is it a deer?
No, it's way cooler than that.
Owl.
An owl?
Squirrel.
Squirrel. All right. Think more as there's the magician on the show Monday. Think more magical.
A phoenix.
Not a phoenix. More colourful than a phoenix.
A Gryffindor. I'm rubbish at quizzes. Although I once won blankety blanks, I'm not terribly bad at quiz. Go on.
Not a goat. Not a goat.
Not a goat.
Not a goat.
Something like that. What about one of those big cattle things?
It's magical and rare.
It's magical and real.
Rare.
Oh, rare. Well, as magical things are.
Yeah.
Magical and rare.
Are you passing?
Yeah.
It's a unicorn.
Oh, no. Oh,
True
no.
story.
Hang on a minute. I'm not going very far, but...
Well done. Well done, Kevin.
Wait. I should have known that because... I'm a unicorn hat.
Well,
I love
this. Flapping unicorn ears. Fantastic. Yes. Well done, Kevin. It is a unicorn.
Kevin, I'm so sorry. Well, that's not an animal. It's a mythical beast.
That was the question. Didn't you raise your ears like that at me? Right. Okay. One for the US audience here. Which letter doesn't appear in any US state?
Z. X. Z or X? That's a good guess.
Z or X? Not sure.
Missouri hasn't got a Z, has it?
That is a Z. No.
Missouri's not a Z,
no.
You fool. It's a double S. And Mississippi took all the rest of the S's. Ooh. X. I'm trying to think. There can't be anything with an X in, can it?
I don't know. It's not X. Let's see if the comments come in.
Well, what is X in then? What do you mean if it's not X?
Kevin said X. Anyone know what the X city is, guys? In America, there are two answers in there from Linda and Brandon. It is Q.
Oh, Quebec. I know it's not. I'm just
no, because that's Canada.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so we're not doing too well here. Let's try this one. What is the most common color of toilet paper in France?
Well, I've been to France.
Okay, what color was the toilet paper?
Neige.
What's neige?
French for snow. So a sort of, because they won't call it white because they're French and it has to be more romantic. So neige.
But that isn't.
Which is a bit like beige.
New Mexico has an X.
New Mexico does have an X.
It does.
Thank you.
And Texas.
Oh, Jesus. Now I feel really stupid. Really stupid. Thank you for pointing that out because I go blank. I blank. My mind, I can remember the word for word aphasia, but I couldn't remember the word for Texas.
Okay, your color. I can't. I'm not accepting that because it's not a color.
What? Because it's in French. Surely I should be allowed to answer in French.
No.
Like one of the characters in Nasty Little Cuts is a pretentious old moo who uses French now and again. Pink.
Kevin says, you think you're stupid. I'm American and I got it wrong.
Oh, fantastic.
It is pink. It is pink.
Because
Tina, you got it.
I've done that, but also it is pink. Is it really? Because I've no memory of that. I have been.
Well,
not invited me back. But that was just a guess. Because I watched All My Agent in lockdown. I became obsessed. And when you think you can speak French because you're listening to the French and they're doing it in subtitles, I've become convinced I could go to France again if I can make myself leave the house.
Fantastic. What does Volkswagen make besides cars? And this I never knew.
Beetles.
No, that is a car.
Yeah, I know.
Besides cars.
Beside cars, Volkswagen radios.
Radios?
My thought process is engineering.
Anyone in the chat want to guess at that? Did you say you did engineering?
No, because of their engineering.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's not that. No one's guessed. So the answer is, unbelievably, apparently sausages.
What? You're making that up?
I'm not making that up. That's what I
need proof.
Somebody
Google that while he's.
Someone gets it.
Is that true?
See, two people guessing in the chat there. Apparently, sausages.
Now we're guessing because you've just said it.
Well, okay. Two more questions. Did you get one right so far or two?
I got one.
Okay. What is Khloe Kardashian? Can't even say that. Kardashian scared of?
Weight gain.
I think that might be an accurate answer, but not the one I've got there.
Oh, what's she scared? What you meant, like spiders or something?
I'll give you a hint. It's on the human body. Kevin says, I remember an episode of QI talking about this. So yes, sausages.
Is Khloe Kardashian scared of sausages? I'm thinking not. What might she be scared of?
It's on the body.
Hairs. Nipple hairs.
It's not hairs.
Everybody's got them.
No, it's not. It's not clowns. It's on the body.
Well, clowns have been on my body in the past. I can tell you that.
Getting a real job? No, it's not that either.
She's not sitting at home talking about us tonight, Kevin. I can guarantee that.
She might be. We'll have to tag her in the show. Someone might get her to watch it.
What is warts?
It is not warts. The answer is belly buttons.
Is she actually? Why?
Apparently, Brandon got that correct as well. Well done, Brandon.
He's not got that correct. He puts it up the second after.
He had already put that in there. You could have looked.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brandon. That's slander. That's slander. I take it. Sorry, Brandon.
Okay, last question. We want to get this one now. Come on. Which country are French fries from?
Belgium.
It is Belgium. Straight in there.
I came through on the carbohydrate round.
Definitely.
That's random that I knew that.
It is.
Yeah. And
I didn't know
that's
that.
weird. Isn't it like moussaka's not really from Greece and things like that? We steal things.
I don't know.
Long Island tea is not from Long Island. I don't know, but there might be things like that where we acclimatise and nick them for our own bits.
Amazing. Carbs for the win. Absolutely. So it's 2 out of 8, Tina.
Yeah, and your point being?
That's a good score.
Paddington stare. Horrified that you're mocking and shaming me for my lack of.
I am not. I think it's a good effort. We could have got more tough questions.
Who won the quiz?
You did.
Me?
Yeah. Guys,
we've right than me.
We've got hashtag Tina in the chat. There's only been 3 entries. If you want to win that book, put that in there right now.
I think they're the best 3 entries, quite frankly.
Well, they are.
It's not about numbers. It's about the quality.
Well, the thing is, they listened the first time round, didn't they? So we should just exclude everyone else for not listening. That chicken looks like a blow-up doll. I'm questioning why you would know that.
I would question why you would even think that. It's just a surprise chicken. It's even more surprised now you've suggested that.
Yeah, it definitely looks more surprised now. Okay, let's do the giveaway now. Sod it. If you haven't entered it now, you're too late. So good luck to you 3 people. Ready, Tina?
Yeah, what do I have to do now?
Do you want to do a countdown? 3, 2, 1?
Yeah, well, given my performance on the quiz, this might go horribly wrong. 3, 2, 1.
There we go. Let's have a little look.
Sorry, that sounds.
Linda, well done, Linda. Oh, this is fantastic. Linda, thank you so much for entering that. And the 3 of you that did so, we will send that book. I will send that book out to you at some point very shortly. So please give me your details. Go on.
If I send to Paperbacks of Call Me Mummy for the runners-up?
If you really want to.
Shall I do that? Because then that's nice.
If you want to, Tina. You don't have to.
I know. Well, I'll put some postage stamps in there because I think we've got sort of people from abroad. And the truth is, I don't know how that works anymore now.
Wood pigeon still.
No, you know what I mean? Like now we've just alienated the entire world with Brexit and just being knobs. If it's like more money and things. So I would like to send, because also they don't weigh very much, the paperbacks, send the paperbacks of Call Me Mummy to the other 2. But I'll put them in the big envelopes for you because I just think it's nice.
It is. So there you go. Linda, Kevin, and Brandon, those 3 that entered, send me your details, physical addresses, please, and we will get those sent out to you with lots of love and care.
Yeah, and please review, even if you don't like it, apparently. Here's another tip. Even if people don't like it, if they review it, helps. So as long as you know you've not got a personal vendetta against me, it's quite nice to say, oh, you know, it's all right, but it's all right to say that.
I wish I could review you just for wearing that hat. And
I love this hat so much.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can make his ears flap up and down.
It's just like, it's the best. Everyone should have them.
I think so. Tina, we have gone over the hour, which means the show...
Again.
No, that's fantastic. Which means the show has to come to an end again for the 2nd time in our history.
Well, thank you for everybody who's with us live. And if anybody's listening later, thank you for joining us. And I really, really appreciate it because it's lovely. And thank you, Chris, because you are my future husband.
Or Sarah. Elizabeth in the chat says, starting the book tonight, Elizabeth said there.
Oh, Elizabeth's here. So Elizabeth, sorry, I've gone off. Elizabeth. So Elizabeth's one of my Facebook friends who's been, I feel really emotional. She's been with me like on Facebook. We've never met each other or anything. And thank you for joining us. I know you said you were, but you'd not popped up before. And I sent you a little book plate for it yesterday. Thank you for coming. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Guys, thank you all so much for joining and coming to spend your time with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. As Tina rightly said earlier, on Monday, the 2-year birthday show for the WCCS, an amazing magician is joining me. We're going to learn a little bit about his history, how he arrived at being a magician. But trust me, he is a very funny guy. I've been on this side of the screen when it comes to his magic, and he blew my mind. And we're hoping to get a few of you guys on the show, just like Tina is now, so he can freak you out.
Is it going to saw everybody in half?
Probably not through the screen. That would be impressive.
That would be.
But yeah, definitely tune in on Monday for an impressive show, I imagine. It will be entertaining. Tina, thank you so much. You always bring lots of smiles to this show, and I love it. You know, I hope all the best for Nasty Little Cuts. And
thank you, lovely.
Yeah, all the best. Guys, we will we will see you soon, very soon, guys. Bye, everybody.